Good afternoon. Is everyone ready? Okay, going to go over a recap of our deputy-involved shooting that occurred on August 6th in the East Mountains. So at approximately 3:30 p.m. in the area of Roberts and Frost, we had received a call in reference to a family fight involving a young male armed with a firearm. Calling party advised that his grandson, Kendall Duran, was armed with a shotgun and was threatening his father. When deputies arrived on the scene, they observed Kendall with the shotgun. Subsequently, one deputy fired one shot from his department-issued firearm, and then Kendall received medical attention. He did receive that one shot, and it was a non-life-threatening injury. He is in ICU according to his family, and he is in stable condition and is expected to recover from the injury. The deputy involved in this incident, if you look up here at the screen, is Deputy John McCauley. He has almost 10 years of experience, and this is his first deputy-involved shooting. He's currently working in the East Mountain Area Command in the Field Services Division. The next slide will be of the offender, who is Kendall Duran, born in June of 1995. He has an arrest history and a history with law enforcement. I'll give you a few minutes to take your notes and take your footage of that screen. Let me know if you need any more time, and when you're ready, I'll move on to the next slide. So, based on the incident, we mentioned last time that we don't want to blame the family because there are some behavioral health issues here. And as far as we know, there was no follow-up, there's no supervision or treatment of this individual, which we feel is very important to make the public aware for any person that has a member in their family like this, so that hopefully we have the opportunity to possibly prevent or reduce an incident like this. So I think that's probably the most important thing that we're taking away from this incident at this point. So these are some of the resources we would like to get out to the public. And in this incident, we felt it was so important that we actually brought in a couple of our crisis intervention team detectives. They're here with me today, and I thought it would add great value to the media to have that opportunity to maybe do a one-on-one interview with them to get this information out to the public. I think this is an issue that needs to be addressed, because I've talked to the sergeant of violent crimes, and according to him, he's telling me that he's seen a spike with people that have behavioral health issues and violent crimes. And so for me, I would invite you to take that opportunity not only to visit with the crisis intervention team detectives, but also the sergeant and what he's seen with this trend. Because for us, I was asked this the other night at the county commission meeting, what are some of the things going on? And these are the experts and the people that are knowledgeable, because they have the information that the public will need to know the information they'll need to hopefully protect their loved ones. So with that being said, I'll take any questions from the media at this time.
So it's been about 5 deputy-involved shootings so far, I believe.
Yes.
What changes are you making?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that question. So the other night I was at the county commission meeting. Obviously we went for a more maybe short-term or even longer-term solution with asking for additional staffing. But I felt the the need to protect our deputies and the citizen was far more serious. So what we've actually done is I met with our command staff and we were actually doing an emergency staffing audit, and we're gonna realign some of our personnel so that we have more deputies in the field. Because to me, that's an immediate solution to what's going on right now. Because I've already brought it up in several other conversations, or let's say press conferences, or whoever the opportunity we have to express it is that the more deputies we have out there, the chances to de-escalate go down significantly. So we thought we had an immediate solution, and so in the next couple of weeks we'll be making those changes.
Any idea of how many numbers you're going to as far as getting deputies reassigned out in the field?
Not at this point. What I asked my staff to do is do a thorough audit based on case management, staffing, the availability, what the need was, and obviously kind of relook at where the need is in the field and try to match those together. So with almost 300 deputies, it's going to take some time to do that.
Is there a specific area in Bernalillo County that you hope to hit a little harder than others?
Well, obviously, based on what we've taken away from the last 30 some odd days with these shootings, we'll be looking at those first. So whenever you do an assessment in terms of realignment, you look at where the need is. So that's what we're doing right now. We're going to figure out where these incidents are occurring, where these other more violent incidents are occurring, and then we'll place people there. And then if there's an additional need somewhere place else, then we'll place those people there.
So then what does this mean for your deputies as you're analyzing, seeing how to realign it and adjust schedules and getting more people out there in certain places? What does this mean for the deputies right now moving forward?
What does this mean to the deputies? That we support them, that they'll feel safer, that it's not for the deputies in itself, it's also for the citizen. So the citizen will be safer and we'll be able to provide a better service for the citizen. So that's what this means in terms of doing this internal audit. And then with working along with the county, there's talk about maybe possibly getting 15 more deputies in our next academy, which is in February. And that is a move in the right direction. So with those things being said, those things being done and actions being done, we're feeling a lot better about the situation we're currently in. But it's kind of what we do in law enforcement and we need to do in law enforcement. We constantly have to be evaluating where our resources are because we only have so many people. And we also know that there's budget constraints. So it's the responsibility of all my staff to look at this and be very conscientious of where their people are and where the needs are. And right now, it's in the field.
Okay. We've done stories like this before when some law enforcement agencies are really looking at to, put more deputies in certain places, which would mean taking away some deputies from one area to put them in another. We've gotten a lot of responses from the community about people concerned about, they're going to take deputies away from us to go over here. Should those people be concerned?
I would say not at this time, because again, we're looking at it from the needs, and we're saying, are we really managing our resources responsibly, and is there really a need there? And through the span of my career, there's been a lot of different units developed, and I don't think they've always been audited on a constant, let's say a constant schedule. So I think it's time to do that based on the situation we're on, and we'll figure it out. And this is one thing I always tell my staff: if it doesn't work, we can always go back to what we were doing. So at this point, we're going to give it a shot to figure out if this is going to be successful, and then if it is, we can pass it on to you and say this is what's working for us right now.
When do you think you'll complete this audit, and when will you see changes in staffing in different areas?
Almost immediately. So I asked for the audit to be completed by this coming Wednesday. And then we'll start looking at the needs based on the minimum staffing in the field. And then we'll look at what the numbers are compared to, like, let's say, calls for service. And then let the violence of those type of calls place the people where they're needed. And that should take us approximately maybe 2 to 3 weeks to finalize that and get people back in the field. So we'd say somewhere early September, possibly.
Now, certainly, though, you do allocate your staff based on calls for service and in particular violent crimes, what's going to be different about the way you're allocating staff now?
Because some of those people will be pulled from different areas throughout the department. So when I say an audit, this is a full department audit. You'll be looking at every division from your administrative section to your criminal investigation section to your specialty units. So it's across the board.
What are you going to be doing differently with the crisis intervention? And
We're not doing anything differently. What we're asking is that we're seeing that this is something that we realized after the incident's over. We felt that it was very important that the media has the opportunity to talk with these experts so they can get the information out to the general public and to the citizens so they're aware of how to manage these, because oftentimes they are not educated, and sometimes based on their limited resources, they don't understand what's available to them. The people that are involved in this program have told me once these people are educated, they're aware that there's a 99% chance of it being decreased, or I'm not saying decreased, the education part of how they resource things, not the preventing of these type of incidents, but them getting the information and them getting help, our success rate's gonna go up. So for me, I'd rather have the opportunity for people to be informed, educated, and aware of what they need to do versus having another incident like that. And if we can reduce that, then we're headed in the right direction.
in this case, and with hindsight, would you have done something differently with the family? Because I guess this wasn't the first instance. Would have you tried to have brought in some intervention?
I would never hindsight any of these incidents, because there's hundreds of thousands of citizens we serve, so we don't have the resources for that. What we're finding out is that we learned something from this, and we're not blaming the family or anybody. What we're doing is we're taking away what we learned from this incident, and now we're saying this is a great opportunity to educate the public. And so that's why I would encourage everybody from the media to take advantage of that interview so they can get it out to the public, so they have a chance to either possibly prevent, reduce these type of incidents.
Pardon the redundancy, what was the biggest lesson learned out of this incident?
Well, I'm gonna say in the totality of it, I'm gonna say that there's a great concern for the safety of the deputies and the citizens at this point. And that although we want more staffing in the future, there's an immediate solution right now. And that's the direction we're going. And aside from that, this is a good way to help prevent that. So it's kind of twofold. We're seeing the benefit of that we can realign staff and that we can educate the public, and hopefully that will reduce and address what's going on in the immediate future.